If you love performance cars, you probably love a good hot hatch as well. But what exactly makes a good hot hatch? These are my top 5 must-haves for any great high-performance hatchback. To illustrate these 5 points, we needed a great hot hatch. The current Ford Fiesta ST is certainly one of those. In fact, pound for pound, it's maybe the best hot hatch you can buy today. Before we go any further, have you subscribed to the CarGurus YouTube channel yet? Tap that subscribe button and hit the bell icon to turn on notifications. This isn't just any Fiesta ST, this is the new Performance Edition. It's a UK only model, limited to just 600 cars. It's based on the top of the range ST3, so it has all the toys and gadgets you could possibly want. Most importantly, it also gets the Performance Pack, which includes the essential limited slip differential. It gets no more power than the standard car. The 1.5 litre 3-cylinder turbo engine still produces 197 brake horsepower, but it does get punchy orange paintwork, lightweight 18-inch wheels and revised suspension. The ride height has been lowered by 10mm at the front and 15mm at the rear, and there are new coilovers. They have 12 manually adjustable settings for bump and 16 for rebound. That's the sort of thing you'd expect to find on a rally car. And so to point 1, the first characteristic of a great hot hatch, affordability. I mean, it's obvious, but it's just so important. You needn't be wealthy to afford a great hot hatch. The Fiesta ST starts at £19,000. That's affordable. You can put down about £2,000 and have one for 270 quid a month. Although, full disclosure, this Performance Edition, it's more expensive. It costs £26,495. Point 2, usability. The whole point of a hot hatch is that you can use them in normal driving and not just for a Sunday blast. They should be practical and easy to live with. Now, clearly, if you need a bigger car, this 3-door Fiesta ST isn't going to be much good for you, although you can get a 5-door version. Having said that, for family duties, the bigger, more expensive Focus ST, well, that's just a much better family bus. If you don't need the extra space though, this Fiesta ST is perfectly usable day to day. It's got all the equipment you could realistically need: smartphone connectivity, a DAB radio, sat-nav, climate control, cruise control, and so on. The seats are very supportive, but they're also comfortable. There's a Bang & Olufsen Hi-Fi, 3 driving modes, a parking camera, a heated windscreen, a heated steering wheel, and safety systems like lane keep assist and traffic sign recognition. The Fiesta ST is perfectly usable in day-to-day driving too. What do I mean by that? It's very usable day to day. Well, it's not punishing or demanding to drive in just normal driving. In fact, it's very easy. The engine is very civilized, the clutch and gear shift, they're both light. I've got really good visibility. The only thing that perhaps compromises the usability to some extent is the ride quality. It's a firm, fidgety ride. Although remember, this car is on adjustable suspension, so I'm sure you could fiddle with it and iron out some of the lumpiness just a little bit. You can really use this car the way you would any other hatchback, except, you know, it's not just any hatchback because it's got almost 200 brake horsepower. And that's point 3. A great hot hatch should have the right amount of power. That means enough to make it faster in a straight line than most things on the road, but not so fast that you're into license losing territory the moment you touch the accelerator. In that sense, the Fiesta ST is just about spot on. I think these days, 200 horsepower in a car this size feels about right. The engine is only a little 3-cylinder now, but it's turbocharged still, and it's really strong. It pulls really hard. It's perhaps not quite got the top end that the old 1.6 litre 4-cylinder had, but you don't miss that old engine at all. It even sounds pretty good in a sports mode with a slightly raughty exhaust. Ford says this car will do 0 to 62 in 6.5 seconds. If it was much faster than that, you wouldn't be able to use that performance on the road, so that feels just about right to me. Oh, and the other thing, manual gearbox, and a really sweet one as well. Really crisp, direct, mechanical gear shift. Really suits the car. Crucially, the weight and action of the gear shift are perfectly matched to steering response and the pedal weights. And that's point 4. A great hot hatch should have cohesive major controls. That probably sounds like something I've just made up, but in fact, I think it's one of the most important things for any performance car, be it a hot hatch or a hypercar. It's something that Porsche has always been a master at, making the steering and the gear shift and the pedals all perfectly matched so they all work in harmony. This Fiesta does it really well as well, and it's important because it means that just operating the car, even at low speeds, is satisfying. That's the key word, satisfying. Which finally brings us on to point 5. A great hot hatch should be fun to drive. I mean, of course a hot hatch should be fun to drive, that's the whole point. But a really great car is fun to drive at all speeds, so it comes to you and it feels exciting without you having to drive like a touring car driver. That's what this Fiesta ST does so well. It's fun to drive, it's engaging at all speeds, and then when you really do start wringing its neck, it just seems to get better and better. And it's because of the way this car gets into a corner. It just feels fantastic. So you've got really crisp, accurate, responsive steering. And then the moment the car turns into a bend, it feels like it's pivoting around the gear lever. So it rotates into a corner. You feel the back end almost sweeping around. It's not exactly oversteer, but it's just the car yawing into a corner, and it feels lovely. And while it does that, it also squats down onto the outside rear wheel. It's just so addictive. I love driving this thing along a winding road because of it. And then when you're coming out of a corner, because of that limited slip differential, you've just got such crisp, clean drive away from the bend. It's so much fun to drive this car, more fun than a lot of sports cars. So there we have it, my top 5 must-haves for a great hot hatch: affordability, usability, the right amount of power, cohesive major controls, and fun to drive. The Fiesta ST Performance Edition hits every single point, although so does the basic Fiesta ST, so whichever version you're buying, you'll be getting a truly great hot hatch. Thank you for watching. Please comment below and let us know what you think of the Fiesta ST Performance Edition, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. And remember as well to head to cargurus.co.uk to find a great deal on your next used car from a top-rated dealer.